So the Celtics are just too good. Like, I actually think there has not been a team that's more unfair since, or well, I was about to say we lived through the Warriors. I don't know what I'm talking about, but the Celtics are pretty freaking good, and they are going to be near impossible for a team to beat. And the reason is that you can't combat super teams with super teams anymore. It's the reality of the entire situation. You cannot combat super teams with super teams. You cannot like outmatch some of these teams that we've seen over the years. The Warriors never happens because of the second apron. The Warriors never happens again like that KD Warriors because Curry's no longer on a $12 million a year contract. So those type of things are never going to happen again. But we have now suddenly seen a team take perfect advantage of the second apron. The second apron is something that's not going to affect you if you have a team, you don't need to trade anybody, and you have a winning team. That's why it's fine for the Boston Celtics, and they've been able to extend everybody. But for everyone else, it screwed them. But no one's ever... I don't think any team is going to be able to compete man for man at Boston anytime soon. If you guys agree, subscribe. We are only 12 subscribers off hitting 6.3k, which is our goal by the end of the day. But yeah, I'm just Kristaps Porzingis. He's such a difference maker. He is a 7'3" shooter who is an all-star. And I get it. Kristaps has been an all-star once in his career. It was pre-ACL tear. And, like, a lot of other stuff has happened. What we saw last year, on any given game, Kristaps Porzingis can be the best player on the Boston Celtics. Just like in any given game, Derek White can be their best player. On any given game, Jaylen Brown can be their best player. On any given game, Jason Tatum can be their best player. Like, should we all just give up because nobody is beating Boston? Look, I think we were a little bit... last year, I think Boston were underrated because they did have a cakewalk in the East. The East was as bad last year as it was this year. They faced an injured Miami Heat. And then they faced, in the second round, Cleveland, who, in fairness, are a lot better than people gave them credit for last year. And then they played an injured Pacers in the conference finals where Andrew Nembhard nearly freaking cooked them. So nobody was like, oh, you know, this team looks unbelievable going into the finals. But it turns out they just killed everybody because they were that good. Like, I think we underestimate how good they were because of how much better they were in the East. Turns out they were that much better than everybody. And this season again, they have been unbelievable, and this is without Kristaps. I mean, the second best team in the NBA without Kristaps Porzingis. They are 15-3. Like, the Cavs have had a ridiculously good start. Doesn't matter. Genuinely does not matter how good the start of the Cleveland Cavaliers has been because, like, who cares? Because Boston are, one game behind, 1.5 games behind them, and Boston are 100% going to catch them. Like, there's absolutely no way that Cleveland hold out that number one. I would be so shocked if they can hold on for Boston. Because the way Cleveland have been doing it, their bench is just killing other teams. I don't know how long-term that's going to be a thing when you can win with your bench. But, like, the Boston Celtics have got one of the best starting fives in NBA history. And then somehow they're just spawning role players. This reminds me of, like, remember those Warriors teams when suddenly, like, Jordan Bell would be a solid role player and contributor, and then the guy would be out of the league in 2 years. Patrick McCall was getting burned for those Warriors teams. Like, there are times when Jordan Walsh steps on the floor and looks decent. Like 7 minutes, 5 points in winning against Clippers. He comes on and just does a job. Is he a good NBA player? No. Luke Cornett. Like, Luke Cornett was in and out of the league. I watched this dude play in New York, and all he did was chuck threes. I watched Luke Cornett chucking threes. Not Luke Cornett playing like 2 minutes here and there, and then suddenly when he's playing big minutes is a key contributor. Same with Neemias Queta. This is a guy who, when he's needed, will give you big minutes and somehow contribute. Like, this guy barely in the league. Sam Hauser, and guarantee if Sam Hauser leaves Boston, he's going to be out of the league soon. And that's the thing with these type of teams, is their role players might be in and out of the freaking league. Anytime they play, they just spawn players out of nowhere. Like, I'm sorry, there's no... Like, Luke Cornett, if he did not look into being in Boston, is out of the freaking league. He was just known a couple of years ago for jumping up and putting his hands in the air and doing the corner contest. That was literally what he was known for. Like, for all we know, J.D. Davidson, the guy is averaging 1 point per game. 1 point per game, barely playing. You know what? There might be a couple of injuries and J.D. Davidson might turn to a damn all-star the way this Boston Celtics team is going. Kristaps Porzingis, he's played 1 game. Or is it 2 games? 1 game. 16 points, 6 boards, 2 assists in 23 minutes. He had 16 points in 23 minutes and had 2 blocks in that game too. Like, that is his first game since the NBA Finals. And he was out for most of the playoffs as well. And then came back in the NBA Finals and his first game had 20. I remember that, and it was like, the game where he had 20, it was like 20. It was a loud 20. It was like 20 to ice the game. And it's like, oh, come on. And also the damn fountain of youth. Like, how is Al Horford still playing? He's born in 1986. He's about to turn 39. He was washed a half a decade ago. Al Horford was washed in 2019. How is he now still giving you like 10 points? He's giving you the same stats as he did when he was a damn all-star. And you might be saying, what am I talking about? He was known as the statless all-star for a reason. Like, Al Horford was like always his stats. He's the exact same player as he is now. He's found the fountain of fucking youth. Like, come on. I don't, like, I'm Irish. You would think I'd be a Celtics fan. No, Celtics fans, I'm a Heat fan, but Celtics fans really pissed me off so much in the 2022 season, overrating themselves, that I'm just like, went so anti-Celtics. I'm so anti-Celtics now, but like, Al Horford on his career, 13.1, 7.9. I want to see what his lowest points per game in an all-star season has been. He was an all-star averaging 12.9 points per game, I guess. His last all-star was in Boston in 2017-18. But like, he was washed. People called him washed in Philly. He played, 2 games in OKC? 28 games, I think I sat in OKC. He was washed. The OKC Thunder deemed him surplus to requirements. Like, they literally had to. Like, they traded him. Or they traded Kemba to get him back, didn't they? But, like, the OKC Thunder just sat him. They didn't even play him. They were tanking. They didn't want to play him in 2021. He was told to sit at home. The man was considered washed in 2020. He was considered washed in 2020. The Philadelphia 76ers had to give up assets. They literally had to give up assets to get off his contract a half a decade ago. And now the guy is a starting center on what is going to be the championship team and one of the better centers. I know his stats don't say it, but he's still one of the best centers in the NBA. What is this? And let's not forget about Peyton Pritchard, the greatest half-court shooter in the history of basketball. Like, averaging 15 points per game. He's probably barely going to play in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. If you hear 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you know for a fact the ball is going in. I've never seen anything like it before. I've never seen anything like this team before because it's freaking black magic. Like, Jason Tatum is putting up 28.4 points, 8 rebounds, and 5.8 assists. Like, Jason Tatum could be putting up 14 points a game and his team's still winning games. I've never seen situations where there was literally, the playoffs was a cycle. For a lot of playoffs of Jason Tatum stinks it up for almost an entire game. The Celtics build up a lead and not blowing out a team. And not like he's like doing anything garbage, like only playing a garbage time. But like, they build up a 10-point lead and then all of a sudden he just catches fire in the fourth. Like, that just happened. He would stink for 3 quarters and he'd be great in the fourth. And then Jaylen Brown just sometimes, it literally just depends on what he feels like. Sometimes he plays like he's an all-NBA first-team player. Other times he's just another backup star, but he always gives you the effort and the defense. As you can see, 27, 17, 31, 29, 17. Shooting 11 shots randomly in one game. Like, he sometimes, like, he's just unselfish enough that he'll just do whatever. And now Porzingis is back. They're already the best team in the NBA without Kristaps Porzingis. And now you've got an all-star back. You've literally got an all-star back. And the worst part is the only problem with Kristaps Porzingis, obviously his health, but like when healthy, was his mentality. And he's even matured and realized his mentality was bad and been in a better situation from Dallas. The Boston Celtics are just too good at the sport of basketball. I'm sorry, they're just too good at the sport of basketball.